Hello and welcome to day 27 of our 30-day yoga therapy challenge. It's so crazy that we're getting so close to the end. We are going to continue our core practice this week with some core stability, and we're going to be doing it lying down on our backs. And if you have a scarf or a strap for some extra support, have that handy beside you. So we're going to come down to lying on our backs in a constructive rest. That means the knees are bent and the feet are flat on the floor. And let's take a few moments just to settle in. Maybe taking a full breath in through your nose and exhaling out your mouth. And then settling into a natural breathing pattern. Feel the back of your head against the floor, and the back of your shoulders, your sacrum, and your feet. And sense your pelvis in the front, the back, the sides, the top, the bottom, even the whole of the pelvic bowl, inside and out. And then sense your leg bones coming up out of the pelvis, up to the knees, down to the ankles and the feet. And then sense your tailbone and see if you can kind of get a sense of each vertebrae from your tailbone through your sacrum, coming up the lumbar spine, so the low part of our back, and the middle, it's the thoracic, sensing your spine, moving all the way up the upper back to our cervicals, which is our neck, and then the base of the skull. For today's practice, if you have a belt or a scarf, you can either, if your strap is long enough, loop it around the ball of your right foot and bring your leg up into the air. So you want your upper arms to rest on the floor. So if your strap's too too short and your arms are kind of straining up, then bring your strap or scarf around your thigh and hold it from down here so the upper arms can stay relaxed. If the leg doesn't come all the way straight, that's totally fine to have the knee bent, but just make sure the knee is directly over top of the hip so that thigh bone is vertical. So we're just going to hang out here to start, noticing what sensations you feel through the back of the leg and in and around the hip. For some of you, it might be a strong stretch sensation. For others, it might be a little bit less or nothing at all. If you're really keen on a stretch sensation, you can lift the back of the heel towards the ceiling, and then that will kind of fire up the back of the leg. So we're just going to start here by enjoying and observing whatever you're experiencing at this moment. Nice, easy breath. And then regardless of where your strap is, we're going to explore some movement through the ankle. So we're just going to start by, I don't like my strap on my foot when I do my ankle movement, so I'm going to bring it back down here. I'm going to do some ankle movement. So the leg position doesn't change, but now we're moving through the ankle joint. And so you can think of it as the heel lifting and then the heel dropping back. So this is plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. And so the foot's not going side to side, it's just straight forward and back. And then notice what your toes are doing. Are the toes really active? Are they kind of trying to guide the movement? And if that's the case, can you find a range of movement where the toes don't get involved? So we're moving the ankle joint, not the toes. And then also notice if you've got really kind of clicky, clacky ankles, and if there's a lot of crunching kind of going on, see if you can find a range by going smaller and smaller until that clicking starts to go away. And I promise you, from my experience, so I was one of those very crunchy ankle people, that it will start to go away as the mechanics of the ankle start to improve. Okay, and then we're going to start to explore taking the ankle side to side. And again, keeping the toes quiet, trying to quiet down any clicking. If you can't quite find this movement, you can come up to sitting and you can hold onto your heel and manually move it side to side to kind of show the body the movement. And then you can try it without the hand there. So there's different way-ins to kind of find that movement. Okay. And then after you've done a few side to side, then we can circle the ankle in one direction. So the foot is circling. But again, finding that sweet spot where the toes are not involved. The toes just stay relaxed and neutral. And we try to quiet the clicking. And then you can go the other way. Good. And we'll bend the knee and release the foot to the floor. Oops. And then let's switch sides, bringing the other leg up, keeping the upper arms relaxed on the floor. And we'll hold here, knee over hip, noticing or observing whatever stretch sensations you're experiencing, maybe lifting the heel if that serves you. Easy breath. You could even see what it feels like to hold the leg up without using the strap or using your hands. That requires a little bit more effort through our core to stabilize us with the leg lifted. And then we can start to explore flexing the ankle forward and back. Notice if the knee is getting involved or if the toes are getting involved. That just means you're doing a little too much. So let's go a little bit smaller so we can get control through the ankle joint. That's what we want to have working. If the toes are working, that means the ankle's not working optimally. And then we can switch to side to side. Oh, this side's pretty crunchy today. Yeah, now it's quiet. Nice. I love that I just like, good job, Lindsay. You made the crunching stop. Oh my goodness. Too funny. And then circling the ankle. Note if your leg is moving around a lot. Are you trying to initiate the movement through your leg? Other way. Good. And then bend the knee and bring the foot down to the floor. Feel the soles of your feet against the ground. Notice sensations in your legs. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift the right leg up again. And this time, loop the strap over the ball of your foot, if that's an option, or behind the thigh. Again, keeping the thigh at 90 degrees. So we're going to explore moving now the leg bone in the hip socket. So this is going to require that we keep our pelvis stable and steady. And so if you want, if this is super challenging, the movement that we're going to do in a moment, you can use the same breathing technique that we used yesterday, where we inhale, belly expands, exhale, full belly evenly flattens, hold that engagement. You got to keep breathing though, you can't hold your breath. And then we're going to start to take the leg out towards the side, and then back to center. And so as you take your leg out to the side, if you feel the weight kind of rolling into that right hip and the left hip comes off the floor, that just means you've gone too far and the pelvis has shifted. So then we're gonna come back, let the pelvis settle. Maybe hands rest on the pelvis, or maybe you're holding onto your strap. And then you're gonna go a little bit less. So the idea is that we find a range where we can take the leg out to the side without the pelvis moving around. And you might feel some effort in your leg. And once you find that sweet spot where you can go without losing the pelvis, we can hold it for a few breaths. The leg might start to shake. That's okay. That means you're strengthening and releasing some tension patterns. That's awesome. And then we'll come back to center. And now, same thing with the pelvis, keeping it steady. Taking the leg across, so towards the midline of the body. And so the same type of thing, keeping the pelvis neutral. Notice if that bottom leg wants to come across, if it's kind of like a counterbalancing action. See if you keep your left leg quiet as well. And once you find that place, holding for a couple breaths, you might feel some stretch or something happening around the outside stuff of your hip. Good. Coming back to center. And now keeping the leg vertical, let's see what happens if you start to rotate that leg a little bit out to the side. So it's as if the knees kind of moving out and the heels moving in. So it's just a little corkscrew motion. Again, pelvis not wobbling. If it is, go smaller. You can also see what it feels like to do an internal rotation. So now the top of the thighs and the knees moving toward the inside and the heels moving out. And just go slow. Good. And then we'll bend the knee and bring the foot back down. Whew. And then we'll loop the strap over the left foot. If your strap is short and you really want it over the foot, you can like make a little loop on one end of your strap and just hold one end. That could be an option. Okay, upper body relaxed. And we're going to start by taking the leg out to the side. Notice what happens to your pelvis. Is there an arching in your low back? Is there tension somewhere else? Is there counterbalancing? Is there an easeful breath? Is there no increase in pain? Right? And once you find that sweet spot, we're going to hold. And you can hold onto the strap to support the leg, or you can use your muscular energy. But then if you feel like, I can feel my back tensing up, so I'm going to hold onto the strap for a little bit of support. Maybe not go quite as far. And then coming back to center and exploring taking the leg across towards the midline. And again, it's okay if your movements are teeny tiny. You've got to start somewhere, right? When I first started doing this type of movement, I like literally had like no range of movement whatsoever. And I was doing like crazy vinyasa, arm balancing stuff all the time. And I just got really good at compensating for movement. So I do stuff like this a lot. And so I feel like my range has improved like 1,000%. And it's still not at the full range, which one might consider whatever is anatomically possible in an average or exceptional human. I don't know. But I'm okay with where I'm at. Maybe holding for a few breaths. center. And let's just explore a few external rotations, keeping the pelvis quiet. Maybe feeling some stuff in the outer hip or in the bum. And then rotating internally. So the thigh rotates in towards the middle. Beautiful. And then bend the knee. Bring the foot down. And rest. Maybe the hands rest on the belly. Maybe they rest by your side. And let your eyes close for a moment. Let's take 3 long, full breaths. Inhale through the nose. And slow exhale through the nose. 2 more. Because we just did a lot for our legs and our hips, I want to just kind of balance that out. If you can do a little bit more, if you have a little bit more time, just do a little bit with the shoulders, the arms and the shoulders. So you can use your same strap, holding it about shoulder distance apart, wrists neutral. And we're going to lift the arms up to the sky, and then arm bones come back down into the socket. So we're keeping the elbows straight, spine neutral, neck quiet, breathing with ease. And do a few of these. Finding the control and coordination of your arms and your shoulder sockets. You might sense the movement of your shoulder blades lifting as the arms come up, sinking as the arms come down. One more. And from the lowered position, pause. And we're going to start to take the arms back, finding a range where the back doesn't arch and the ribs don't poke or strain. If the arms easily go all the way back, pause when they line up with your ears. Breathing with ease. If the arms are really wobbly, see what it feels like to move in a shorter range, a smaller range, and see if that affects the wobble. It's easier to gain control in a smaller range than it is in a bigger range. Let's do a couple more. Last one. Good. And then set your strap off to the side. We'll do one more. We're going to pinch our thumbs and index fingers together like we're making OK symbols. We're going to bend the elbows out to the side and then bring your thumbs and index fingers to kiss in the middle. And I want you to imagine that there's an invisible thread between your fingers and your thumbs, and you're pulling that thread apart in the air, creating a straight line, and then following that straight line back so the fingers come back together. And we're not losing the angle of the elbow. So the movement really is right where your arm bone comes into the shoulder socket, taking the upper arm wide and then back together. If you find that your invisible line is really wobbly or it bows out at the end, do your next one not going quite as far and see if you can find, or go a little bit slower. But remember to breathe. Notice if you're holding your breath. We'll do a few more. Good. And when your fingers come back together, pause. Now from here, rotate your arms so your elbows point towards your knees. We're going to keep the same angle, but we're going to pull the thread again. So the arms move wide and then back together. There isn't any rotation, so the elbows don't go out. It's just apart and together. My thumbs and index fingers are not actually touching. They're more kind of facing my head, and my baby finger sides are kind of come together. So that might be one way to kind of keep the arms from rotating. Try a couple more. Good. And then release, let the arms come down. 3 full breaths on your own. So that is our practice for today. I look forward to joining you tomorrow. See you then.